Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to all. And what better way to celebrate that than reviewing a new creation I made, celebrating the 40th year anniversary of Transformers and the 4th year anniversary of Transformers the Bumblebee movie that released in in December 21st, 2018. And let's just go ahead and go straight into it on what we're going to review today because I am short on time. This being, like I said, the Transformers Bumblebee movie, Cybertronian Nemesis Prime. And oof, what a long anticipated figure this guy is. I haven't gotten too much requests to do a Nemesis Prime, but I did manage to do it with a few requests that I got. Like I said, not too many, but I'm just super happy how this came out. There are some flaws, such as in the leg compartments over here, which we'll talk about during the articulation segment, which is quite a lot actually. But never mind that. There's just so much to pack in here. I'm super excited to show this all with you. All of this great effort. But first off, we're gonna go through the legs very quickly, and then we're gonna go through the rest of the body and the head and everything, and then we'll go straight into whatever we have to get into for this review. So let's get into it. Okay, so first of all, the legs. The legs were really complicated to do because they had to be long for the whole body. It was just so hard, but I'm going to go over this shortly. I did manage to use the same exact leg panel as I did before, but it is just slightly remodeled. It is just slightly extended with these two pieces. This piece is actually supposed to be accurately thinner, but I couldn't do that. So I think this bulky design mat just fits. Same thing with this, it's supposed to be angular, which I did have an original piece for the legs, that being this, but I didn't have that in black, so what a damn shame. But I did manage to make this piece there, although I do think that little black round piece isn't accurate because we're supposed to get a bit more gray piece there. The foot is very flat, and it definitely unstabilizes him quite a lot, which makes him fall. But it is whatever. There are some details in there. Sorry if it's blurry. I don't want to adjust the setting because I do need to show the rest of the body. But all of this here is some extra detail there. And then looking at the back, you can see he has the same exact detail. There's no lack at all in the whole thing, which we will go over the back, like I said, when we go over it. But the back panels are seemingly way too wide. That's kind of my only complaint with the back, is that these panels are way too wide. They're supposed to be more tucked in and thicker too, but it is what it is. Okay, now that we rushed that over, let's go straight into the slower part of the review and go straight into things. And starting with that head sculpt, and oh my god, I'm just so happy I've finally been able to up my game throughout the years with this head sculpt. Well, not with this head sculpt in particular, but with many other head sculpts. It's such a breath of fresh air, especially when I had to work on the Optimus Prime from Revenge of the Fallen for so long. And then I started to work on the Dark of the Moon, which was a whole nother process. I will showcase him actually in a bit, and then in the size comparisons too, to see what I kind of show you what I'm working on, but of how complicated it is and how it's really not gonna be there until a while. But I mean, the head sculpt is just so good. It's actually really, hold on, let me see if I can. It's really clunky, it's really chunky, it's bulky, it has, sorry, there's still dust there. Most of these I don't review for a while, so that is why they would be really dusty, but it's just so cool. I finally managed to get the circle detail there that almost most Optimus Prime seem to have, so yeah, I'm super happy how that turned out. And I finally managed, like when I got from the Optimus Prime from the Bayverse, to get that mouth plate. It would used to just be this weird cheese slope, and now it's actually like a mouth guard now. I do think maybe I could tuck it in more, but it is whatever. So it just looks so good right now. Yeah. And then it fits on the head very snugly too, with this whole cap piece. And then since we're gonna move on to that, we'll move on to that. This whole piece is kind of accurate too, because there's just so much finely plated, and I actually managed to finally get some detail in there, unlike before, where it would just be very plain. I managed to get some detail in there, some pieces here. This whole hood piece, although it does seem to be kind of miniatured. Oh. That fell. Kind of miniature due to I guess, budget. But then we'll slide the head back in. It slides in super perfectly. There's no problem. You know, it's very fine for me. But we'll move on to the arms. So, actually, no, we'll move on to the whole torso instead, because there's so much to actually unpack here. It's genuinely unfathomable. So, first off, it's absolutely great. I don't know how accurate it is to the source material. I managed to use the Yellow Park for it, and the 3.0 as a model. So the 3.0's main inspiration. 3.0 is kind of the main inspiration for this figure, and you'll definitely see that in the articulation. I'm so excited to show you guys that. But anyways, the arms are super, super cool. I managed to get so much detail in there. Not except for the tires, though. I wasn't able to get the Cybertronian piece hubcaps there, but it's whatever. I couldn't really complain that much. But first we'll go over the side view, which definitely goes with the arms as well. And it's just so accurate. Sorry if my keeps going in. I'm a nerd. My goes out too much because I'm actually a freaking nerd. Don't even approach me when you see me, though. I hope you don't. But there's so much arch. I don't want to say it. I don't want to say that because it sounds weird. But he's definitely kind of flimsy too. But there's so much arch to the whole body because that's actually really accurate, and I'm super glad that I managed to accomplish that. There's so much arch to this figure and to the body that it's, yeah, like I said, I'm just glad it was so accurate because he actually has this weird kind of like arch and humpback in the Cybertronian in the Bumblebee movie, but in Rise of the Beast he was more upright and like I said again too, I can't wait to do that as well. But I'm just glad that he has all this like curvature to it. And then over here, like I said, I wanted to get a white piece or a light gray piece here. I couldn't do that, but I managed to get the smokestacks here. It's kind of inaccurate. Like again, there's still so much to change that I'm actually still kind of proud of how this turned out. And then the arms, which you will actually get to see it too in the articulation segment, but it finally has that whole weird circle disc piece. It just looks so multi-detailed. I wanted to add these as a way to make it pop. There's some here too, because the Nemesis Prime that we got in the 3.0 really kind of was lackluster. There wasn't too much teal, but I didn't want to add way too much teal, so I just added a bit of teal over here. I was thinking of adding maybe here, but I think that was definitely overkill. Just making him overall pure black with a few bits of teal definitely makes him pop. But let's just go straight into the chest, though, which is completely different. I love how this turned out. And no, it does not open for a Matrix. I probably might want to add that on the Rise of the Beasts. But, like I said, I'm still not so sure because then I'll have to add a few more paneling here and there, different designs. I'll probably just keep it enclosed because we don't really see him open his Matrix. Open his Matrix chamber, so it's not really a problem for me as much. So, yeah, like I said, I'm not too bothered by it because we don't really see that in the movie. But the torso's just so cool. Let me put this to the side. I'll put up a 3.0 of Nemesis Prime as a comparison, but there's definitely so much cool detail here that I managed to capture on this figure that was on the 3.0. If there was one thing that was also really cool too, is that I managed to finally get these weird white pieces in. It does jut out a bit too much, kind of like Rise of the Beasts, but I'm not, like I said, I'm not complaining too much because I had to get what I had to get done. And the proportions pretty boxy already, so that's gonna be hard to change them into Rise of the Beasts. Uh-oh. Never mind. So, but yeah, like I said, it's gonna be pretty hard to change that into Rise of the Beast, which is why I think I really want to do it, because it's gonna be really challenging. But there is also angles in the hip skirts too, which does involve with the torso. And like I've said too, as well, I'm super glad I managed to get these as well. They're a bit too long compared to the normal average hip skirts that we had in the Bumblebee movie and in Rise of the Beasts. But I had to make some compromises. And then as well over here, There's still some detail over there. So, still pretty happy. And then the overly complicated torso. It's not too complicated, but it's still manageably complicated. It is still, yeah, manageably complicated. And I'm still happy about that because it just feels so cool. All the detail that was managed to be simplified and numbed down to a minimum is just great. And then you have the manageable pieces over there. So there's just so much. Ugh. Yeah, my bad. There's just so much in this figure that definitely, it doesn't make him sturdy because he's far from it. You know, he just collapsed on my way to recording him. Ugh, what a mistake. But anyways, he's far from being perfect, but there's still so much aspects into him that really makes him pop and shine so much, even though he's black. Not like that, don't take it like that. But another feature is his back, which is something that's really cool. You're not really turned to it, but once you turn to it, you can't remove it. At least for me. Because I didn't leave the back to bone, okay? I didn't leave that to the dust or to the winds or to whatever. I made sure to put every ounce of detail. And thank you, 3-0. I'm not sponsored by 3-0, but I'm sure as hell thanking them for this because I managed to get every detail because of the 3-0 figure. I don't know if I can actually. I think it's a bit too bright. Okay, hold on. Okay, there you go. I have to make it bright because he's like so dark you can't really see too much. But there's so much detail compact. I'm so happy. Even though that is a piece of articulation, it still counts as detail, and that's why I love it so much. I have to hold him up too, but which is more sad than anything, but it's whatever at this point. But these pieces kind of are a pain in the ass because they don't like to kind of hinge in right. They're just kind of out. Kind of like muscle, so like if this is just there and you articulate it, you can kind of use that, but I mean, you can choose to just leave it open. I just choose to leave it open for but I did not leave that spinal cord to waste. I definitely put all my might into it, which I forgot who used the spinal cord. I think it was in TikTok, not in YouTube, but we kind of had that spinal cord design, and I definitely decided to give it an upgrade. Oh my god, the leg. But anyways, same thing over here too. Like you can see that the spinal is a bit kind of ugly looking to the side, but that is actually kind of accurate as well because it had a weird slump to it. But it's just so cool, man. All of the spinal detail, and then over here there's still some. I forgot what that's called. I think it's a gas can design, and then over here some more spinal detail here. But there is such a great feature which I will showcase during articulation. It is kind of limited too, but it is whatever. And then you have the side of the arms. They were kind of more lackluster than everything else, but I managed to get what I had to get done. Let me just I didn't want you guys to see that because of legal reasons. I'll probably put a huge sticker over that, but yeah, it's just so cool. And then there is some red to give it contrast as well, just so I can give him something. But yeah, but before I even go into that, I wanted to mention the arms, because for the longest time this wasn't even, it took so long to do, and it was just so frustrating. I gave up at one point and I just stopped, which is kind of why he was a bit more delayed. But and I finally managed to get that boxy design all compact, and then you have the circle piece over there. And if you're also going to ask during the accessory segment, which I'm actually going to say it again, don't ask about that Earth thing. Don't even ask about that Earth hologram globe. I'm not going to answer your question on that. At least for now. But anyways, and then you have the accurate kind of line pieces here. This, I tried to stray away from it at some point, but then I kind of learned to embrace it and be like, it's fine, it's whatever, you know. It's not that big of a deal because sometimes it's okay to reuse design segments or design parts from your past to improve. And yeah, I definitely did. And sadly, I put a lot more ball joints than I used to before, because I used to always rely on hinges so that the ball joints wouldn't get loose over time, but I always have to replace them every now and then. And then you have the hand, which is actually sadly fixed in place. It doesn't want to come out because of the way it's sculpted and how angular it is. But you do get those articulated fingers, which yet again are useless. He's just more so brooding in that stance. But it's still pretty cool, you know. I'm still glad about that. And we'll go straight into size comparisons and then accessories and whatnot. Minifigure. Pretty tall boy, but that's more of like a Bumblebee size. So, and then I'd have to make a really large Optimus. I'm not doing that. I used to do that before. Don't even ask me about it. I'm not doing it again. End of story. Okay, let's take that out. We'll use a Lego Speed Champions, just in case if you have some. I didn't use these for it. I used it completely different ones, but here's that comparison. Yeah, he's still pretty big, so. I plan on making other characters, but more in line to his design. It's really hard to create other lines, because then that means I have to keep this body design, and I have to just keep it, and then I have to use other pieces, and just, yeah, it's just really a hard problem, because if I want to make more characters that way, it gets really hard and annoying. But at least you know the comparison of that, and then when it's standing up, I mean, still big. Okay, now we're gonna go into we're gonna go into YOLO Park this time, and then we're going to Studio Series, because I still have a few Bumblebee movie Studio Series, so I want to go into that last. But we'll go through YOLO Park first. Okay, so then we have the Transformers 1 Bumblebee from Transformers 1. I mean B127. I keep fucking forgetting the difference between the two, because he just looks more Bumblebee than B127. So I really do hope they give him that name change. But anyways, it's not really accurate. I mean, technically speaking, it is accurate, because these guys are really big in live action in the movie, so it's not too bad. But we'll just take him out. Next, we'll use the other character, which before I even show him off, I don't plan on reviewing them just yet until I have the Elita 1 and D16, and then the AMK Pros as well. So once I have all of that, then I will definitely try and review them at some point. Kind of like a double review between Optimus and Orion Pax, but that'll be another day. But anyways, and I mean, you tell me. I don't really know. It's kind of hard to tell right now, as I've said many times, because they look almost too close. If I do this, he looks taller, but if I move him to the back, he's taller. So it's really kind of your personal preference on what you think, whether or not he's taller or not. But he's really tall, and I used to think, like, for me, I think he's a pretty short version of what most of my characters are. So, like I said, for me, that's really interesting, but, I mean, yeah, you tell me, you know. But, you know, there's that. Okay, so let me just rearrange a few things. Now, getting into the smaller Studio Series, which I will get Ironhide too, we'll first do Sunstreaker. So, I don't know how well they size comparison, but let's just do it. But here's Sunstreaker. Okay. And that isn't really fair, because Optimus Prime is huge. That's like Bumblebee compared to Optimus Prime, and like, damn. And that genuinely makes me concerned to want to do Bumblebee, because, oof. Huge problem. But yeah, that's definitely not going to fit into your Studio Series display. Okay, then we have the Bumblebee movie concept art Megatron. And this isn't really the greatest, because, I mean, look at how big he is. Optimus Prime is bigger than Megatron. Can you believe that? I mean, this is technically Nemesis Prime, but whew, that is not even close. Nemesis Prime is just extremely huge now this time. And you can even... whoa. Don't try and sabotage him. Okay, don't do that. But he's definitely bigger. I mean, I love this figure. There are issues, but I don't think I'll probably make them fight against each other. Probably try it with, when I do the Bumblebee, the Optimus Prime, but oof, that is going to be hard to do on the shelf. And not like extremely like hard, but now for a more obscure one, we have the work in progress Darker Than Moon Optimus Prime. You may not be able to tell, but I mean, yeah, I have definitely worked on a lot of things. It's like has me shaking, but he's still way bigger. And this is definitely getting a long video, so I'll have to speed a few things up. But I worked on way too much. But I'll probably just make him dark. This is the Dark Moon version. I'll probably put on the chest plate, slap it on. That's it, and then I'll move right on to doing a 2.0 of the Optimus Prime from 2007. Okay, for accessories, we're gonna keep it straight up and short. He only comes with this really dwarfed up ion blaster. It's hold on. Semi-dwarfed ion blaster. It's just this that looks a lot shorter, which is my only problem. I don't think you could see it properly. There's a tint of blue because I don't have all the pieces. I use most of it on Nemesis, but there's still plenty more black pieces, but I'm not going to talk about that. This is the best I could do at the time. I tried to get the magazine and everything, or clips, but whatever. How to attach it is a lot more harder. I'll probably just try and show it to you right now. So I had to remove the arm, but first you just kind of want to open up the hands. And depending on which side, this piece is actually removable so you can swap it on each side. But you kind of have to figure out where that peg goes and over here. So just kind of have to slot it in. And then the hands kind of easily snap. Well, not snap over, but they kind of go over the gun. And then the magazine's over there. So, yeah, it's definitely stocky. We'll just put it on the body. And then with the gun on it, he feels a lot smaller with the gun, which is exactly why I didn't put the gun on. Because he feels way too small. And the gun's supposed to be extremely large, which was my main problem, because I just couldn't get it at this size. But he feels a lot smaller with the gun, which, like I said, is my problem. That it didn't really work too well. And it's definitely reaching 30 minutes. But we'll go over articulation with the gun too. So, anyways, there's a ball joint at the head. So this is going to be a lot harder to do. So there's a ball joint at the head. It can go up, down, tilt side to side, all the way around. Pretty good motion. The hips, the legs will do last, but there's a ball joint and a hinge, which we'll go over in just a second. Okay, everything's falling apart. That can go up about that far, down that far. Can do a full rotation, and then a slight, swivel. Now there is a hinge here, which you'll have to push this hinge all the way back, and then do that just to access it, which reveals the ball joint, which means that arm can go out all the way. And then if you rotate it slightly, you can still get a decent kind of forward of butterfly joint almost because of the ball joint, but this hinge here definitely gets you a whole lot more. Holy moly. And then you can use the hinge to kind of make it look more natural. So definitely a great piece. Really, really, really great. And then there's 90-degree bend because of the ball joint. And then this kind of rotates slightly, and then there's articulated fingers so he can point. You can actually still put the arms all the way out. Best part is that these are really tight, except for this one. I'll actually remove the gun right now because that's a problem. Okay, even in a T-pose, he's really chunky, so that's the best part. We'll go over the torso last because that's something I really... Actually, no, never mind. I'll just show it to you. But there's still butterfly joint here as well, so... Yeah, and then if you go to the back... Actually, no, we'll go do that last. But, so he has a ball joint at the torso, which can only ab crunch about that far. It's not the greatest, because it is kind of loose because of how chunky it is, but it can go forward that far. And there's no backward, but it's whatever. There's no rotation, so don't rely on it. But when you turn to the back, that's when things get good, which is what the inspiration of 3.0 was. If I articulate it, you can see that there's more revealing detail. There is some slight gappage, sadly, but there's still much more revealed detail. Uh-oh. That's getting loose on me. I don't like that. But there's much more revealed detail. So, see there? You get some detail. It's not bad. But as soon as you ab crunch it, you can get, it's not that much ab crunch, but you get some dots over here. You get more detail. There you go. There's a more perspective view. So, it's really cool. I really love how I was able to engineer that. Engineering last is the legs. So there's a ball joint here, and then there's a ball joint here. They can all hinge all the way, and then the hinge, with the leg being able to go backward about that far, and then forward about that far. That's where things get worse. You can actually hinge this out to get slightly more about that far. So it's not the best, but you still get some. You get some thigh rotation. Still pretty cool. Okay. For the legs, since they fall down too much, I had to create an engineering design where you have to, I had to create an engineering design where you have to kind of, well, there's a part that you can remove to be able to articulate it freely, where you just have to kind of hinge it and then hinge it back, and then you can get 90-degree bend. So that's my limitation because I don't want it to flop over. And then of course the ball joint at the feet. Okay, so I almost forgot this, that you have to actually hinge the ball joint, use the ball joint out, and then and then the legs can go out and about that far. This one's really loose, but it can do a really good kick. With the ball joint, you can kind of get a big kick, but there's not that much because of how it's locked in. Okay, now for final thoughts to wrap up this video, because it's almost close to 30 minutes. Really great. I'm really happy how well this turned out. There's so much compartments that just make this thing so fulfilling. I'm not gonna do that moi thing like Chef's Kiss, but it's just so cool, man. It's just so cool, man. It's weird how it still fits in with Megatron. Like, it just looks so nicely, even though he's so big. Like, he's so big, it doesn't even fit well. It doesn't even, like, not at all. And it sounds weird me saying it like this, but it just doesn't fit. And that's what I love about it, is that it just doesn't really fit the tone, and it's just still so good looking. Everything just compacts so nicely, but anyways, overall rating, as this video is about to end to 30 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and say 9 out of 10. It's so close to perfection. That accessory needs to be good. The stability needs to be great. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and log off, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Happy holidays.